no business is successful and no person is successful without having passion for what they do.
Yeah.
Because being an entrepreneur is day in and day out, and even having a successful career is day in and day out.
Yeah.
And so if you don't believe what you're doing and you don't love what you're doing, for the most part, not everybody, I don't love the accounting side of things and this and that, but for the most part, the creating, I love it. And so it's what makes you successful over a long term. Nothing happens overnight.
Yeah.
To the outside world, that's always interesting too, because to the outside world, everybody raves about all these successful businesses and entrepreneurs, and they think that it came up overnight. But no, none of them do. Very, very rarely. And there's that term unicorn is for that exact reason. And because it doesn't happen to 99.9% of the companies. And so what happens is it's a slow build. It's a reputation. It's a product or a service that that is perfected over time.
Yeah.
And so it overnight takes years and it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of grit, many failures along the way, and everybody has them. So I think one thing that a lot of people also get discouraged too fast is that when they have a failure or two, they feel, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not the right person.
I want to touch on that for a sec because that's interesting for me, right? I think that a lot of people, and going back to kind of that quality of life thing, right? It's psychology. Mm-hmm. And what we're talking about here is really what I would define as just being patient and playing that long game versus trying to go short term and get everything all at once and then you just mess yourself up with it, right? So what do you do in the past when you've encountered things, because I'm big on quality of life. So what do you do when you encounter things like feelings that don't necessarily help you move forward? I'm talking about fear, I'm talking about worry, anxiety, stress, things that everybody gets. I'm sure even you still feel being where you're at.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you deal with them? I mean, even if it's a breakup that someone's going through or a business loss or a debt, something, I'm curious as to how you get yourself to keep on moving and still feeling good about it.
Well, it's a part of life. So one thing that everybody has to realize is that nobody's path that goes like this, that from the outside it might look like that, for all the celebrities and all that kind of thing. And even people's friends, social media, I think, doesn't help with that situation either. Everybody always looks happy. But that's not true as to how anybody feels all the time. And in those lulls, you do have to have a support team around you that you can go to when you're not feeling so great and when things aren't going so great, to lean on, to have somebody to talk to, but also to know that you will come out of it. The company will come out of it, and you personally will, and you will be better for it at the other end. And there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a matter of finding it. And
how do you find it? Like, that's what I'm really.
Everybody has different tactics. Everybody has different tactics as to how to find it. And it depends whether it's your personal life or your business. And when it comes to your business, to find the light at the end of the tunnel, it's really about perseverance. It's about not stopping knocking on those doors, because you never know who you're going to meet and who's going to like what you're selling, and what advice you're going to get from somebody to mold it to get to where you want to get to. Personal life is a little bit more tricky, for sure.
It's like an art almost.
It is a little bit, but the one thing I do feel is that your personal life always does have to take precedence.
So you believe that? That's
I absolutely believe that. I have 2 young girls. I have an amazing husband at home and parents, and so being raised in a very small family and in a traditional Indian family, in kind of the words, family is very important to me. Always has been, and that's who I feel I do everything for. I do it for my kids. I do it for my family. Sure, I do it for me too, but they're first and foremost. So I believe that comes through in everything you do in life too, and it builds a support team through the ups and downs and through the time management and through somebody who can be, and not only one person but multiple people who can be straight and upfront and honest with you when things aren't going so good. And how to come out of it personally is sometimes you just need that one person to shake you up and say, okay, get dressed, go, you still have this going for you, you still have this going for you. And otherwise it's hard to do it in a bubble. It's hard to do it in a bubble.
You said if I come into the room, and I'll use kind of your pitch example, there's a bunch of executives and they're all men, and you're the only woman, so you stand out immediately. And you said sometimes the respect isn't there, so you got to earn it.
Yes.
A lot of people just get caught up in that. Even I've gotten caught up in that, where it's like, well, heck, everybody else has got respect. I deserve to have some respect, and they just stay in their own head, and they never do what you do, which is they just let go and they face the reality and they say, you know what, screw it. If I don't have it, I'm going to go out and earn it anyways. How do you get over that little kind of mental warfare that so many people go through as to fair, unfair, and things like that?
Well, as I said, life isn't fair. However, the entitlement, I deserve it, is not right either. You don't deserve anything. Nobody deserves anything. It's about what you're able to negotiate and what you're able to bring to the table yourself. Everybody is looking for the same thing. You got to separate yourself apart from the pack. And how you do that is up to you. But mostly how you do that is hard work and is perseverance. They would need to hear from you 10 times, whereas maybe they may need to hear from somebody else 2 or 3 times.
Nothing new.
Because they have the company, they might have the family, they might have the money, whatever it might be. But that doesn't change. And so it's really about just not giving up. And having the idea that you deserve something, it never works that way. Hey, listen, I will go in and I will put on, in the beginning, absolutely a face. Doesn't mean that I didn't go back to the car and cry about it, okay? Or be very upset about it and use all the swear words I knew when I got into the car. However, you would never know that sitting in the room with me. It's about learning also to bottle and put emotions where they need to be and bring them out when it's appropriate.
That management.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's about knowing yourself and trusting what you have to offer.
There's really nothing new. It's just that little stuff, right?
No, it's nothing new at all.
So this is where I'll tie it up, just so we have kind of an ending piece here, which is this. If you were to kind of, and I always ask people this, that all-encompassing thing, that thing where it's just if you go down 18, 21, 32 levels below the surface, and I just want the root of kind of, if there is something there, and I'm sure that there is, of just kind of what you believe in, who you are, and what everything branches off until. I guess what I'm looking for in a more clear question is a piece of advice that you would be willing to give to any human being, regardless of their race, their sex, or anything, at any stage of life, something that you would just want them to know from your heart to theirs.
Yeah, it would be that, you know what, whatever idea, passion, vision you have for yourself and for your life, don't think about it forever. I think way too many people dream. Dreaming is good, but at a certain point, you have to act on your dreams. And nobody is going to give it to you. Nothing is handed to anybody in life, despite what a lot of people think. It's about going and getting it yourself and starting. You got to start somewhere. And so if you don't start, you'll never reach the finish line. And it is so true in so many different things. And I think too many people dream that they will become this and have that. But if you don't do it, nobody is just going to come and hand it all to you. And so it's about actually getting out there and putting yourself out there. Harder said than done, I get it. But if you don't start, you'll never know what the world has to offer you, and vice versa.